Have you ever caught your reflection in the mirror at a bad angle or bad lighting? Like dressing room mirrors. Ugh. It's like being aware of your bad side when someone takes a photo. Hold on, let me get my good side. We know what it takes for us to look good, but what about when we look bad? Really bad. Do you remember the character in Snow White, the witch? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? What if the mirror told her, not you, that's for sure. Ouch. One fried mirror to go, please. We're starting a new series on Lent. Now, Lent is a season in the church calendar, and this calendar is sort of like the seasons of the year. They lead one to the other. Like Christmas, for example, leads to something called Epiphany, which basically means revelation, because it reveals Jesus as God to us. So Lent begins, and Lent is a time where we're looking ahead to Easter, but we aren't quite there yet. Lent is a lot about waiting in the now, the sometimes messy, difficult now. And in that time, we're reminded about who we are and what God is doing inside of us. So I want to suggest that Lent might be like that mirror. But this mirror shows us our bad angles along with our good, the real us. The problem is it might show the messy stuff inside of us, which we really don't like to think about, much less tell anyone else about. I mean, what a downer. Makes us all sad and uncomfortable. Who wants that? Dr. Luke, he inspired through the Holy Spirit the gospel named after him, shared an interesting story about Jesus, the grown-up. Jesus had just been baptized in the Jordan by John the Baptist, who was a pretty unique dude himself. And then this happened. Listen to the story. Now Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, left the Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wild. For 40 wilderness days and nights he was tested by the devil. He ate nothing during those days, and when the time was up, he was hungry. The devil, playing on his hunger, gave the first test. Since you're God's son, command this stone to turn into a loaf of bread. Jesus answered by quoting Deuteronomy. It takes more than bread to really live. For the second test, the devil led him up and spread out all the kingdoms in front of him on earth, on display at one time. And the devil said, they're yours in all of their splendor to serve your pleasure. I'm in charge of all of them and can hand them over to whomever I wish. Worship me, and they're yours. The whole works. Jesus refused, again quoting Deuteronomy. Worship the Lord your God and only the Lord your God. Serve him with wholehearted single-heartedness. For the third test, the devil took him to Jerusalem, to the top of the temple. And he said, if you are God's son, jump. It's written, isn't it, that he has placed you in the care of angels to protect you. They will catch you. You won't so much as stub your toe on a stone. Yes, said Jesus, and it is also written, don't you dare tempt the Lord your God. Well, that completed the testing. The devil retreated temporarily, lying in wait for another opportunity. So the story ends there. What just happened? Like major grown-up moment for Jesus, right? God tells everyone there, this is my son, I'm so proud of him, go get him, son. Fills him up with the Holy Spirit and then sends him into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil? Who does that? Well, maybe someone that knows exactly what their kid needs. There's nothing worse than thinking you have it all together when you don't. Like, seriously, don't. When I was 18, I thought I knew what it took to live on my own. Moved out of my parents' house and into an apartment with my best friend. It was great until it was time for rent. Talk about eating crow when I had to call my dad to borrow money. So maybe I didn't know it all. Ever had to come to terms with what you saw in the mirror? Or even worse, how others saw you in the mirror? Ouch. Lent is not supposed to be a downer, but it sure can feel like one because it gets all up in your business. It points out all your weakest links, like hunger. I don't know about you, but when I get hungry, I get angry. I wonder if Jesus got angry too. Imagine not eating for 40 days. And then when he's starving, the devil comes to tempt him with food. I bet Jesus was thinking, seriously? The devil was holding up a mirror for Jesus to look in. He was tempting Jesus in his humanness. But the thing is, Jesus is God. Jesus took on humanity, but humanity could not control him. Jesus looked in the mirror and saw himself perfectly aligned with the will of his Father in heaven. Yes, Jesus could have made bread to eat, but not because the devil told him to. That's patience. Yes, Jesus could have been the man of the hour at any moment he chose, but not because the devil told him to. That's humility. Yes, Jesus could have called angels down to save him below, but not because the devil told him to. You see, that's wisdom. Jesus is God. And if we believe that, then we each have God with us, inside of us. Number one, he helps us be patient when we get frustrated with our own mirrors. Number two, he guides us to humility when we see our mistakes in the mirror and own them. And number three, he leads us to new wisdom when we decide to make the changes we need to, as hard as it is. He reminds us of who we are in Jesus, because we all have messy stuff. No surprise there. Jesus wants to transform our mess so we can see them clearly, and then with God's help, we can work on them. Because guess what? Just like Jesus, the tests of life are going to happen. It's what we do with them that matters. Look in the mirror. What do you see? And if the mirror could talk back to you like it did for the witch in Snow White, what would it say?